You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Guys, it's a magical time of year again.
What time of year?
The holidays.
No.
Bowl season?
No. It's the time where everyone goes on their Spotify and they've figured out what they've been listening to way too much of this season. Which, by the way, thank you to all of our listeners that listen to us so much and have us high on the podcast list and all of that. We love you all. And it's so great that you listen so much. But also...
That didn't sound enthusiastic.
What do you
that
mean?
Didn't,
I tried to clap and woo, and I got nothing.
That didn't sound like gratitude. You sound like you've been wearing a costume all day and are exhausted.
Thank you, fans.
Thank you, fans. Thank you, fans.
Give it up for the fans.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly loyal, unusual, unseen in this marketplace, people who listen that long to any one thing in a crowded entertainment field.
Well, that's because you game the system by putting out hours upon hours of content and dividing it up in parts. In fact, your whole empire is built on lies.
That is right. We have fooled everyone into giving us money based on...
Never mind the fact that you actually sit down, put in the work.
No, cutting up a podcast is the reason everybody gives us money, because we cut it up.
How dare you put out so many parts of hours that you do?
That's right. But Billy, you were saying...
Well, I was just expressing my gratitude towards all of the fans and the listeners and saying how sincerely happy I am that everybody listens to us so much. However, you don't need to tell us. Like every song that you've listened. No, not the podcast. No, guys, guys, you're misunderstanding.
That you need to tell us. Tell us how much you listen.
I love, like, I'm beaming right now with joy and excitement that people tell us so much and they tag us and all that, but like, I don't need to know every song that you listen to this year. I don't need to listen to how many minutes a year you listen to Bad Bunny. Tony was telling me that he listened to Bad Bunny for, I believe it was 70 hours this year, which seems like a lot. And he said, no, that seems about right. What's wrong?
JuJu, why did you just move away physically from Billy? I need you near the microphone.
I do not need myself near that take. I love share with me.
I love the fans
me.
too.
If you listen to Bad Bunny, if you listen to Taylor Swift, send it to me at JuJu Gotti at whatever. No subscribers, no fees for less than a cup of coffee a month. Zero.
JuJu, how many things around here do you want to separate yourself from? Because
I wish a lot more. Especially, look, my inbox right now is full of Caucasian people calling me the N-word while accusing you of being racist. I'm like, wait a damn, this don't add up. So I want to separate myself from a lot, but I'm a team player and I love all of you equally. So I'm going to take the brunch with you guys.
Thank you for that, JuJu. But Billy is just telling the audience, stop sharing your musical tastes with me. I don't care.
It's not the fans. It's everyone. I don't care what anyone is.
Do you want me to tell you mine?
I actually would like to hear that. Yeah, now that you mention it.
We should all go around the room.
Yeah.
Charlotte,
Yeah,
you
let's
go
do
first.
that.
Mine are exactly what anybody who looks at me would think that I listen to.
Taylor Swift,
Stevie Nicks, and Boy Genius.
Wow.
So I'm exactly what you all thought I was.
Jimmy
Thank you so
Neutron.
much.
I've been listening, and I don't know how many people out here do this, but I've been listening to too many Christmas songs.
Well, no, Dan. It's not what you think you've been listening to. It's what Spotify tells you you've been listening to.
read the
You're
top
playing this
5.
game wrong. You don't know how it works.
I'm sorry for being so ignorant here about Spotify telling me what I'm listening to, but I'm telling you what it is that I listen to.
No, you don't know what you listen to. You don't get it.
How do you feel about the Kelce Brothers Spirit of Philadelphia? Have you listened to that one?
I have not,
It's
but
absolutely incredible. It's electric.
I heard it climbed very high because TikTok, Swifties and TikTok made the Kelces, on top of everything else, successful at singing bad carols.
I like to think it's successful because of its own artistry and beauty, but sure.
It has been a marketing. They have been monsters at being able to sell a center and a tight end as the future of football. I have not seen a whole lot of those positions be able to become what those guys have become. I'm not going to say overnight, but it's basically over the last 12 months. It's a series of things that have happened that feel like the economy around them is carefully orchestrated by a management team that really knows what it's doing when they go from cashing in on the Super Bowl to having every commercial opportunity that they want.
I think the only thing that really feels orchestrated is the Taylor Swift stuff and all the
No.
network tie-ins. And
No,
Okay.
they're in love, Mike.
I do
They're gonna
believe
get
that now.
married.
I think
It's
so, too.
real.
Yeah, they
It's
want to have
real.
kids within the next year.
She's moving in. They saw her equipment outside his house.
But what I was trying to say was, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when people accuse it of being orchestrated, it usually hovers around the Taylor Swift stuff. But when you say you don't necessarily see a tight end or a center break out like this, you never see a center that good. You rarely ever see a tight end that good. They just so happen to be brothers. They played in a Super Bowl against one another. I don't think they're in this because they've been in the leagues for quite a long time. You don't see any of this if they aren't excellent, like Hall of Famers,
No.
arguably the greatest ever at their positions.
They could have this if Jason Kelce was not a Hall of Fame center.
They're very charismatic and funny. I feel like I become a Kelce truther.
Really?
I'm like so into the Kelces now.
Me three.
Nick Mangold got a bunch of commercials because he happened to be a center who was good with the Jets, but the centers do not obviously get the kind of play that Jason is getting, and Jason wouldn't be getting it at all if it wasn't for everything going on with his brother that he can then also cash in on. Regardless of his excellence, it just wouldn't go to him. It has to have other elements here. But for selling your league, though, you have to understand that all I've seen for years is the people who are the pitchmen in the commercials only get to be the quarterbacks who have been in front of us for 15 years. Like, it's always those guys who are entitled to the future of the league and how it's going to be sold to us, presented to us, marketed to us beyond today. These two brothers are telling a very simple story of family. The Currys did this. The Currys, when you're watching sports and you want to connect with a customer base that buys products, not just the sports product, but the product of, I believe this person and I want this person to give me advice on what I should be buying. The only way for all of those things to come into play the way they have, because it's not just excellent success, Mike. The people around the economy of this, the business of this, had to be listening very closely when Travis Kelce told them, I want more fame. Kansas City tried to come down on this. Andy Reid didn't like his dating reality show. They took it from him because they didn't like that image. Think about what Kelce's image is now versus what it was then. He was very proudly dating women publicly on television in a way that made Andy Reid and that organization uncomfortable enough to shut it down. And what's mushroom clouded since then is exponentially more fame, more distraction, which those coaches hate, and now reports that they're going to spend the next 6 weeks together if she comes off of tour, and it's the real test of the relationship. Because I don't know, man, Travis Kelce is busier than Taylor. You've seen, she's not making as many commercials as he is. Every time I turn on my television, Travis Kelce is grabbed at another commercial, even though I know Taylor Swift is the most famous entertainer in the world. What those two with their teams have created in terms of an economy, everyone in sports should be looking at that and mesmerized by the amount of money making that you can make with success if you have the right people guiding you into the places where they're chasing for you the things that you want.
In Taylor Swift's defense, she does play 3.5 hour games in NFL stadiums a week. Travis plays one.
Yeah. And every game's a road game.
I'd venture to say she's more exhausted after what she does.
Mm-hmm. So you never answered your top five. I don't know what that whole thing was, but what's your top five, man?
I don't think the whole room answered that, and I'm basically avoiding your question.
JuJu, what is yours?
My top song's Halsey. I have 3 out of my top 5 songs are from Sing 2. They're all related to my daughter.
Yeah. My daughter screwed up
Nice.
my algorithm
Great
too.
dad.
Yeah.
You're a great dad. I don't listen to music at all, other than the old stuff. So my stuff doesn't even pop up. But I listen to podcasts. I listen to should I say the other podcast I listen to?
Yeah, man.
Sick tripping. The Pete and Sebastian Show with Pete Maniscalco, Sebastian Maniscalco and Pete Corielli. I listen to Dan Soder's new podcast, Salute to Katie Nolan and my dog. The Bo Monty Jones, The Right Time. Also the JBP, Joe Budden podcast.
You're listening to a lot of podcasts. You're not listening to music. That one surprises me.
I also don't listen to this show. That's surprising to a lot of people.
And hurtful.
And
Our show wasn't on my top 5 either.
Yeah.
I don't think it's true, though. JuJu listens to the show all the time because
Yeah,
he's...
I watch the show. I have to.
But you watch it on the stream. You don't have
Right.
to listen.
You don't
to
have
it.
And
Yeah.
on Max.
And on Max. Yeah, stream on Max.
I mean, you can be on the show and not listen to a word. Stugotz has done that for 17 years.
That is true. You're not recorded for our enjoyment. You are not someone who gives the company the clicks that it needs because you're too busy working on listening to the show in places where we don't get credit for your listening.
Yes, sir. YouTube gets my numbers. I can clip from there a lot of times. StreamYard, the Asana app. You know what I mean? I don't give my listens to Apple. I should, though. Starting in 2024, I proclaim that I'm going to be one of the listeners for the Dan Batard show with Stugotz.
Or else.
Yeah, Apple recently changed its algorithm to combat Dan Batard from gaming the system, even though it's still perennially a top 3 podcast, but that doesn't get in the way of anybody's argument against it. But I make it a point to, I haven't listened to my own show, and I love the sound of my own voice. So I go there once every 2 weeks to make sure that my subscription doesn't lapse, and I sincerely hope that people out there listening are subscribed to us and do the same thing every 2 weeks, even if we don't fit your schedule. Just go back and listen to us so we can continue to build our empire on top of lies.
I got mad at Apple because just this week, out of nowhere, they tell me that I'm being charged 19 something a month instead of 16 something a month. Out of nowhere, no warning. I mean, I guess it's warning that this is about to happen. But I don't even know what I was paying the $16 a month for.
Yeah, they're good about that. You got to go to your settings, and there's like a subscriptions tab.
I know how to find it.
You sure? That's an upset.
You wanna. I know how
And yet
to.
you can't pull up your Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah.
I know how to
Something's
find.
not adding up.
I know how to find where my money is, not my not
Sitting next to you
not
for
the-
several hours a day.
the devices that are chronicling where it is that I'm listening. This doesn't happen to you guys, though, where you're getting a bunch of mystery charges that you don't know.
I had to get
Oh,
down
I
to
get
the,
'em.
yeah, I had to get down to the bottom of it. I'm like, I didn't have the cloud set up there, but my dad, I once gave him an admin because my dad doesn't want to pay for subscriptions, and he just started buying cloud storage for himself. And now he Venmos me $1.99 every year. Hey, it's Mike. Hut, hut, whistles, penalty flags, touchdowns, rah-rah. Love all that stuff about football season. But you know what I love the best about football season? It's camaraderie I get when I toast the beautiful white can that holds the key to making football amazing. I'm talking, of course, about Miller Lite. I make it Miller time every time it's football time, and I'm never left disappointed because it is the perfect beer to pair with our national obsession. From kickoff to the final whistle, you just can't go wrong with a Miller Lite in your hand. It's the only light beer with a taste worthy of football. What's the point of having a beer if it doesn't taste like, well, beer? Thankfully, Miller Lite checks all the flavor boxes, and it's only got 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving. This season, do what I do. Crack open a light beer that hits your taste buds so hard, you feel it in your heart. And you can scream touchdown and hoorah and all that stuff. Make it Miller time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.